Meanwhile, the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Govt Ibaz, has arrived at the Government House in Port Harcourt and is holding a closed-door meeting with security officers, federal government delegation, and state government officials. Retired Vice Admiral Ibaz, after he was sworn in by the president on Wednesday, promised to work with all key players to restore peace, security, and stability in the state. He's also acknowledged the challenges that led to his appointment and emphasized the need to prioritize law and order.
We know the circumstances that led to where we are here, and Mr. President made it very clear in his broadcast. And if the main issue is that of maintaining law and order in the state, I think for any meaningful activities to take place in River State, that is the utmost task that I have, to work together with all other stakeholders to ensure that we bring peace, order, and security and stability to the people and government of River State and Nigeria at large.
Well, our correspondent Uche Okoro is standing by from Port Harcourt. Uche, good to have you join us. We understand that the sole administrator has arrived in River State. How was it welcomed, and what's the update as regards the security meeting?
He was welcomed by officials of the state government who went to the airport to receive him. And from the airport, he was brought straight here to the government house in Port Harcourt. He was escorted by, there was, of course, a large convoy of security personnel, particularly personnel of the Nigerian Navy. I also cited some senior officers of the 115 Special Operations Group also in the convoy. Senior police officers were also in the convoy, led by the Commissioner of Police. They were part of that convoy that led him from the airport to the River State Government House here in Port Harcourt. All senior officers of all security agencies, as well as the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, were all here to receive him. We also had the delegation from the federal government. I also saw some officials, particularly from the Office of the National Security Advisor. A number of them were here in Port Harcourt alongside the sole administrator, and the welcome address, when he was led into the executive chamber here in the government house, was delivered by the head of service of the River State government here in Port Harcourt. So he delivered the welcome address, but just before he delivered that welcome address, journalists were asked to vacate the executive chamber. So it turned out to be a closed-door meeting. We do not know what was discussed in that meeting. What I can tell you is that that meeting didn't last up to 20 minutes, at most, maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes, right? And then the delegation came out of the ESCO chambers, and then he addressed the press outside, and after that he made his way to the residence. So that's the situation. We know that he has arrived to begin what would be day one of the discharge of his duties as administrator to oversee the state of emergency for an initial period of 6 months in River State.
Right, Uche, I understand that, the sole administrator has repeatedly mentioned that he is committed to restoring peace in the state. But what does his arrival mean for residents of River State? What should they be looking forward to now?
I am still at the government house in Port Harcourt here. We still have, security is still very tight here. But speaking about the job, the task that lies ahead of the sole administrator, he has said that he is not new to Port Harcourt, and I earlier mentioned that he has been to Port Harcourt a number of times, and he said that today, that I'm not new to Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt is my place, is my city, and that his job would be to restore normalcy to Port Harcourt. Those were his words, to bring Port Harcourt back to what it used to be. I'm sure he's speaking specifically about the political atmosphere. So we can expect him to hit the ground running and see that all parties come to some form of compromise. Also, we tried to probe him today when he after that closed door meeting, and he said maybe it's too early to begin to give specifics or particulars about how he's going to do his job, but that this is day one, he's just arriving. He will need to speak to more persons would need to interact and, you know, feel the pulse of the stakeholders. And then perhaps, maybe, he said maybe, before the end of today, he may call everyone back and have something more to tell us about how the next 6 months is likely to be. But for now, I can tell you that he is here. And of course, those who have been eager to know how this is going to play out would begin to get answers to their questions from today.
Right, interesting, Uche.